And we are all grateful that both China and India have put forward interesting and new proposals that have contributed to forward movement in these talks. We have the solutions in hand. We have the technologies that we need. As I have said many times, the missing ingredient is political will. What will be the outcome 3 days from now? The answer to that question must come from you and for those who are facing difficult decisions in the effort to find solutions for these remaining issues. There was a meeting within the last 2 days between young people who came here from the United States to advocate progress and young people who came from China for the same purpose. If you could have heard the level of agreement and the nature and degree of their enthusiasm, you would think this problem could be easily solved. Young people throughout the world feel a sense of commitment and dedication to solving this crisis. It reminds me of an experience that I had when I was 13 years old and listened to President John F. Kennedy issue a challenge in my country to land a person on the moon and bring him back safely within 10 years. I remember how many said that would be impossible and that the pledge was unwise. But 8 years and 2 months later, Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. And as he did so, there was great cheering in Mission Control in Houston, Texas. And when you look at those who were cheering there, the average age of the systems engineers was 26, which means that when they heard that pledge, their average age was 18. If we had the luxury of time to wait for the generational transition in leadership in nation after nation, there would be no doubt this problem would be solved. But we do not have the luxury of time, because the same scientific assessments that tell us of the impacts already beginning to occur also tell us that the time for action is now. Not simply because we want to get the solutions over with, but because we are in danger of losing the opportunity to reclaim a climate balance favorable to human civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I wish that I had the words to transfer directly from my. For me, it raises a fundamental question. Who are we as human beings? Who are we? If at some future day, the next generation faces the prospect of living in a world with steadily deteriorating prospects and no chance to reclaim the glories of this beautiful earth that we have enjoyed, if they look back at Copenhagen and asked, well, why didn't you act? Why did you let this process fall into paralysis and neither succeed nor fail, but become a symbol of futility? What were the arguments again? You didn't realize that we were at stake? If their conclusion was that the generation of human beings alive in the first years of the 21st century gathered together in Copenhagen with the leaders of virtually every nation in the world, and instead of forthrightly addressing a mortal threat to the future of civilization, instead decided that the arguments were more important than the solution, that the compromises were just too difficult, and allowed the process to fall into paralysis, thus condemning them to a life completely unlike what they deserve. They would be justified in asking of us, who are you? Didn't you care? Did you not feel any connection to us? The real source of the passion and the feelings that I have for this issue is a simple conviction. I don't believe that's who we are. I believe we are capable of rising to this occasion in spite of the difficulties. I believe that we are capable of resolving the remaining issues to the point where we can meet in Mexico City this July in the aftermath of a successful action by the United States Senate in April and conclude a binding international treaty that begins the process that builds our confidence and leads us to make bolder commitments and cuts in global warming pollution and provide the supports that are necessary until, like the Montreal Protocol process, we get to the point where we actually solve this crisis. We can do it. We must do it. And as I have said many times, I believe that political will is a renewable resource. Thank you very much.